An internationally recognized figure in Christian ministry, Joyce Meyer is one of the wealthiest female pastors in the United States. Battlefield of the Mind and Living Beyond Your Feelings are just two of her publications that have inspired millions of people with her straight-talking lectures and approachable biblical lessons. As she establishes a Christian kingdom, her influence extends from the United States to faraway parts of Africa. However, things haven't been going swimmingly as of late. Concerns have been expressed about surgeries, postponed events, and even inquiries by the government. Is Joyce Meyer in trouble? Where did you hear about it? We'll have to see. Following their departure from Life Christian in 1985, Joyce and Dave Meyer established Joyce Meyer Ministries. Their goal was to launch Life in the Word, a nonprofit ministry. Over the years, the ministry achieved popularity through television shows, radio broadcasts, and conferences. How she plans to expand her ministry is something she has always been forthright about. At the young age of 9, she experienced a second birth. God, however, called her name as she prayed fervently on her way to work in 1976. It was at this moment that she felt her calling to the ministry. The first time Joyce taught a Bible class, she was a member of St. Louis's Our Savior's Lutheran Church and the instructor was a cafeteria worker. At a later date, she started actively participating in Fenton's Life Christian Center. She worked her way up to assistant pastor after a few years. Because of how well-liked she was as a Bible teacher, the church became quite popular. On a St. Louis radio station, her 15-minute broadcast began. She left her position as associate pastor in 1985 to start her ministry, Life in the Word. She also began having her radio show broadcast on numerous more stations in Kansas City and Chicago. Subsequently, in 1993, her husband proposed that they launch a Life in the Word television ministry. Even now, you may catch her show, Enjoying Everyday Life. In 2002, she was paid more than $10 million by Hachette Book Group for the rights to her books that were published independently. Moreover, she was named by Times Magazine as one of the 25 most compelling American evangelicals. Her St. Louis Women's Conference, which she hosted annually, grew in popularity and began drawing thousands of attendees. The mission branch of Joyce Meyer's ministry, Hand of Hope, was also formed by her. It included outreach initiatives such as food and medical assistance. She gained widespread fame among Christians, and her teachings alleviated suffering and provided for the needs of millions. The healing power of God and her own background of trauma were also themes in her talks, touching people who hear it. A vast worldwide ministry was established by Joyce Meyer over a period of several decades. But new evidence suggests that her ministry is under stress, which may be the result of operational demands or internal issues. Decreases in both live performances and public appearances are indicators. The foundation of Joyce Meyer's ministry has always been her live conferences and speaking engagements. Attracted enthusiastic audiences anxious to hear her lessons. Many of her live events have been replaced with pre-recorded sessions, which has led to a reduction in the number of these events. The ministry struggles with resource conservation and technical hurdles have necessitated this change. Joyce Meyer's ministry has since disappeared from television, which is another indicator of the strain on the ministry. Her show had formerly aired on KNLC, one that was run by the Reverend Larry Rice of the New Life Evangelistic Center in St. Louis. He blamed Meyer's extravagant lifestyle for her dismissal from the show. He rationalized the cancellation of the show by stating that her lectures frequently deviated from Scripture. The reduction of overseas operations and the grounding of the private plane have both had an impact on Joyce Meyer's ministry. From the beginning, people suspected that she was abusing her private jet, which led to numerous scandals involving her lavish expenditure. In the past, Joyce Meyer was able to interact with audiences all around the globe through her ministry, which was backed by her extensive travel. But these initiatives are smaller in scale, and many are wondering if that's because of budget cuts. In an apparent attempt to keep reaching out despite limitations, the ministry's social media presence now include inspiring quotations and pre-recorded messages. Although these updates will guarantee an ongoing presence, they may be lacking in personality, energy, and face-to-face communication. On top of that, Meyer seems to have changed her level of personal intensity and engagement. Her energy level at speaking events has been steadily rising, and the time she takes to recover between appearances has been noticeably shorter, according to observers. These symptoms may indicate physical issues, the effects of aging, or the impacts of decades of service. If you're curious about Joyce Meyer, it's not just about her ministry. There have been operational and financial difficulties for her as well. For many years, Joyce Meyer Ministries has been one of the most visible Christian ministries in the world. Public scrutiny and increasing operational expenses have been major obstacles for the ministry's finances and operations throughout the years. While Senator Chuck Grassley was looking into the misuse of donations from 2007 to 2011, the ministry came under scrutiny during the probe. A $43,000 table and a $10 million Gulfstream jet were reportedly purchased, which contributed to the escalation of this investigation. Despite the fact that her ministry was supposed to help others, she was accused of leading an extravagant lifestyle by many. The ministry had a tough time avoiding scrutiny and criticism before the Senate investigation, largely because of her lavish lifestyle and fortune. According to a 2003 article, the group has paid for opulent objects including a $2 million home for Joyce and other homes for her 4 children. In addition, she spent $107,000 on a silver gray Mercedes for her spouse. The ministry's main office has expensive furniture and artwork worth $5.7 million, contributing to its $20 million valuation. As a result, several watchdog organizations demanded a probe of the IRS. Joyce Meyer Ministries responded by making changes to increase financial transparency. Her yearly income was slashed to $250,000 and her financial advantage from book sales was reorganized. "We don't have to apologize for our good fortune," she said, defending both the organization's economic standards and her own spending habits. The problems of managing a large-scale ministry with almost 1,000 workers spread across 38 nations are substantial. Insurance premiums have reached $2 million per year, adding significantly to operational expenses. The organization's financial resources are already under pressure from the constant criticism of its procedures, and they are stretched thin by its vast international activities and outreach initiatives. One possible explanation for the sudden grounding of the ministry's private jet could be the efforts to control expenditures and address public opinion. The ever-changing donation levels and the growing expenses of running worldwide operations add even more stress. Joyce Meyer has long defended the fiscal policies of her ministry, preaching the gospel of wealth and the value of being debt-free. The larger Christian community is debating riches and stewardship, and Meyer's viewpoint highlights this conflict. She has stated that preachers are frequently judged differently, with financial success being criticized even if it would be praised in other occupations. Meyer has acknowledged that her earlier teachings, which centered on prosperity, needed to be adjusted, and she has shown humility in the face of the criticism, notwithstanding her defense. This recognition shows that she is committed to responsibility and growth by making an attempt to harmonize the ministry's financial operations with its spiritual objective. Despite facing major operational and financial issues, Joyce Meyer Ministries has managed to keep a strong global presence by adapting to criticism and rising costs. Some of the criticisms have been addressed by the organization's actions, such as making themselves more transparent and reducing Meyer's personal salary. But maintaining a steady budget, positive public image, and extensive operations is a constant balancing act for the ministry. The ministry's perseverance and dedication to its purpose are key factors in its lasting impact, even as Meyer's teachings change and adapt. In 2011, Joyce Meyer Ministries encountered yet another difficulty when they were sued for wrongful death. The deaths of Christopher Coleman's wife, Sherry, and 2 kids were found at their apartment in 2009, leading to his arrest on suspicion of murder. He was the chief of security for her ministry at the time. Suffocation claimed the lives of all 3. A huge scandal engulfed the ministry as a result of this. Following a protracted trial, Christopher Coleman was finally convicted guilty of 3 first-degree murder charges and handed down 3 life sentences in 2011. Chris claims in his prosecuting materials that he planned to kill his wife so he could have an affair with another guy. He was worried that his employment at Joyce Meyer Ministries would be jeopardized if word got out about his extramarital affair. The question is, how did this influence Joyce Meyer's ministry? Claiming that Joyce's carelessness as a counselor was the direct cause of the 3 victims' deaths, Sherry Coleman's family sued the ministry for wrongful death. Christopher Coleman allegedly sent multiple threatening letters to his family in an effort to avoid suspicion of murder, as stated in the lawsuit. Allegations were also leveled that Meyer ought to have known his wife to be wary of the letter. Richard Aguirre, a circuit judge, rejected the case in 2013. The internal dynamics of the ministry were profoundly impacted by the murders and the revelations that followed regarding Coleman's private life. Workers couldn't believe such behavior could emanate from a person in a position of such significant influence. As a result of this loss of confidence, the company rethought its recruitment and oversight procedures. Joyce Meyer Ministries responded by instituting more stringent procedures for screening potential employees. In order to make sure that people's values were in line with the ministry's mission, background checks, psychological examinations, and character assessments were made more stringent. Building trust and protecting against future vulnerabilities were top priorities for leadership, who made encouraging openness and responsibility a culture priority. The operating culture of the ministry was altered in response to the disaster. The focus was on making the workplace a safe place where employees felt comfortable raising concerns and reporting problems, in addition to improving the screening process. As part of this effort, we improved management training and set up more transparent channels of communication for handling delicate issues. The incident also served to highlight the significance of maintaining separate lives for one's work and personal obligations. For the sake of the ministry's credibility and the safety of its personnel, leadership understood that upholding this differentiation was critical. Joyce Meyer has also spoken publicly about her abused background and that of her family. She was a part-time auto salesperson not long after she graduated from O'Fallon Technical High School, which she attended during her final year of high school. After 5 years of marriage, she came clean about her husband's infidelity and how he convinced her to steal paychecks from her job. They went on a California vacation with the money, but she said she gave it back years later. After they split up, she started going out on the town with friends before meeting engineering draftsman Dave Meyer. On January 7, 1967, they exchanged wedding vows. They were blessed with 4 children: Sandra Ellen, David Meyer, Daniel Meyer, and Laura Marie. While it's great that all 4 of her children are active with the ministry, it has had an adverse effect on her work. Dave Meyer, wife of Joyce Meyer, is the vice president of Joyce Meyer Ministries. He has been a pastor for about 30 years. Afterwards, the ministry's chief operating officer for the United States is Daniel Meyer, her youngest son. One of her other sons, David Meyer, serves as the chief executive officer of Joyce Meyer Ministries' mission arm, Hand of Hope. She has additional children who have stepped up to the plate and are making significant contributions to the organization's mission and growth. Nevertheless, numerous difficulties have arisen as a result of family members' job responsibilities. Because of the emotional weight of these choices, it was difficult to keep ministry responsibilities apart from family dynamics. For as long as anyone can remember, the family has been involved in every decision involving the ministry's strategy, responsibilities, and promotions. After Joyce Meyer started easing off on her demanding schedule of public appearances and leadership duties, her son Daniel Meyer took front stage. Changes in leadership and family dynamics were necessary during this pivotal period for the ministry. Succession in a family-run business is complicated, as Daniel's growing workload has shown. Striking a balance between his responsibilities as a rising leader and his family's peace demanded finesse. He had a challenging task that was further complicated by the pressure to maintain the ministry's legacy while implementing new ideas. Their capacity to adjust while staying true to the ministry's purpose and principles was put to the test during this change. Trusting family members has brought us closer together and strengthened our vision, but it has also exposed us to some risks and difficulties. Everyday interactions, decision-making, and dispute resolution are all impacted by the juggling act of family and work responsibilities. Her ministry has been under fire for what many see as nepotism, with members of her family receiving preferential treatment or posts rather than those earned through merit. Their opposition to the ministry's decision to include family members in their operations stems from this. Conflicts involving money also arise at the same time. No one believes Joyce Meyer when she says she spent tens of thousands on furniture. Along with purchasing the houses for Joyce and her 4 children, the ministry has also paid for all of their utilities, maintenance, landscaping, and improvements, totaling at least $4 million. Her detractors said that she and her relatives were financially profiting from their positions in the church. The fact that they hold every high-ranking job and receive the lion's share of the ministry's revenue raises suspicions, regardless of their position in leadership. The lack of openness on the part of the ministry is another problem. Due to the family's involvement, the inner workings of the ministry remain hidden. The impact and responsibilities of family members also play a role. The world was taken aback when Joyce Meyer revealed that her views on faith and wealth had become imbalanced. With over 100 publications under her belt and many sermons preached throughout the globe, she once claimed that a lack of faith is the root cause of all evil. Many people felt she was belittling the poor and their lack of religion, which led to numerous controversies and charges. Nevertheless, she reappeared at a later date. releasing an Instagram video that radically altered her pedagogical approach. She said that she was grateful for her lessons on affluence, but that things had become unbalanced. "I'm grateful for the lessons I've learned about religion, yet things became imbalanced. I used to think that people lacked faith every time they experienced difficulties. There is no assurance in the Bible that we will always have an easy life." The fact that she publicly acknowledged her error and discussed her plans to alter her perspective shocked everyone. "No matter how much faith you have, you will never be able to avoid trouble," she continued. "You will have trouble in this world, but have hope," Jesus said. "I have triumphed above all obstacles." After years of spreading the prosperity gospel, Joyce Meyer reversed her position and issued an apology. According to proponents of the prosperity gospel, Christians should have faith because God wants them to be healthy and rich. Many preachers of this gospel teach that believers can triumph over adversity by maintaining a cheerful outlook and trusting in God. This was also a theme of Joyce Meyer's sermons. Yet some have said it's exploitative and manipulative, leading people to believe they need to pay a lot of money to be blessed and well. Critics argue that it distorts the gospel of Jesus Christ. The current spate of serious health issues that Joyce Meyer has been experiencing has also worried many of her fans. Following an extended period of bed rest, she announced on social media that she is beginning to feel better. According to her video, she had to take some time off due to a fall, a fractured ankle, and back surgery, which led to complications in her other leg due to a blood clot. "Even though I've been confined to a wheelchair for the past month, I received some encouraging news today. When I visited the orthopedist, they removed my wheelchair entirely. For the next 3 weeks, I must wear a walking boot. Nonetheless, I am able to bear all of my weight, which is quite remarkable. In a short while, she would be able to walk unassisted." Many people are worried about the 85-year-old preacher's health. Similar to others, she underwent surgery and encountered many challenges. Keeping up with public expectations is challenging, therefore she has also struggled emotionally. This came as a shock because she has been an influential voice in helping others conquer mental health issues like anxiety, sadness, and PTSD. Restoring broken hearts and clinging to God's love are common themes in her teachings. Speculation regarding Meyer's well-being has been a common thread in public discussions over the past few years. In 2019, people started talking about her health online after they saw her trembling at an event. Speculations regarding Meyer's capacity to handle the demanding role of ministry chief continued unabated, even though she has not commented publicly on them. The quick dissemination of videos and comments on social media platforms heightened the impact of these findings, prompting both worry and condemnation. Due to her frequent appearances in the limelight on social media, Joyce Meyer has been the subject of media attention for a variety of reasons. People respond to her every public speech, lecture, and appearance, and her teachings are frequently the target of criticism. On the other hand, it has given her the opportunity to connect with a global audience of millions and disseminate her message. Prosperity theology and Meyer's other controversial views have long caused divisions in the Christian community. Some see her message as oversimplified and materialistic, while her many followers find inspiration and hope in the idea that faith may lead to personal and financial prosperity. Opponents of prosperity doctrines say that they take advantage of people who are already weak by leading them to give to the church in the hopes of obtaining monetary benefits. Even though Meyer has admitted that her ideas on faith and prosperity were imbalanced at one point, her detractors remain unmoved. One more thing that some have a problem with is that Meyer often uses personal stories in her sermons. Her narratives overshadow her lectures and diminish her deeper theological insights, according to some viewers, while others admire her openness and relatability. It is still a challenge for her ministry to strike a balance between personal sincerity and providing broader spiritual instruction. Meyer has also been heavily criticized for his lifestyle and the amount of money he spends on his ministry. Allegations of extravagant spending and misappropriation of ministry funds have been prompted by the costly furnishings. Meyer has justified her spending by saying it is a sign of God's favor, but her detractors say it makes her look untrustworthy as a religious leader. These issues were brought to light during a Senate investigation into the finances of her ministry, which, although concluded, raised long-lasting worries regarding financial openness. Leading a worldwide ministry in this day of magnified scrutiny is complicated, as Joyce Meyer's public life demonstrates. The difficulty of sustaining an impeccable reputation as a religious leader is exemplified by the constant criticism leveled at her health, theology, and spending, despite the fact that her teachings and testimony have inspired millions. Her ministry continues to grapple with the delicate and continual issue of balancing authenticity with accountability. In your opinion, where does Joyce Meyer's ministry go from here? Post a comment below to share your opinions. Until next time, we appreciate you tuning in.